right. First topic I want to talk about is Dave Chappelle and how he used his power to get his show removed from Netflix. This happened I think this morning. I don't know when it happened. I started watching it on Netflix. Special. Yeah. I mean he made a whole video called Unforgiven where he talked about it. But I started watching it on Netflix and I was very upset as to why it happened. But y'all watch Dave Chappelle, right?
Buy another one, you rich motherfucker. Fuck your couch, nigga. Hell yeah.
Darknesses.
Baby, can't stop. Won't stop.
His stand-ups have made him my favorite comedian, like my number one. So
you know what's crazy? I haven't seen that one stand-up by him.
Yes, you did. You saw Sticks and Stones.
Okay, that's the only one.
Yeah.
Other than that, nope.
I think that's his best one. All his ones are good though.
I've definitely seen most of his stand-ups.
He was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack. You see, Juicy Smouye is gay and he is black.
There's one stand-up where he talks about meeting OJ in like 4 different times, and it was funny. But what happened was that Dave Chappelle talked about it. He said that Netflix didn't pay him for streaming his show, so he found that very disrespectful. He connected it to how when he was younger and a comedian that he was doing comedy with, and he was like 14 or 15. Because Dave Chappelle started, I think, comedy at like 13, maybe older than that. But it was around his teens, and a comedian that was older, he liked his joke, and the comedian took his joke and never paid him for it or anything like that. And he confronted him about it, and he kind of like bullied him into taking his joke. So
this guy was a grown-ass man. He stood up over me so I could see how big he was. And he said to me, "Really? I can just take it." And he did. I got scared because I was a child. But I never forgot that.
Yeah, and then he compared that to, he felt like someone was kind of stealing his stuff. And he talked about how HBO never wanted his show on their network to begin with. And now they're streaming on HBO Max. And
before Chappelle Show was at Comedy Central, I pitched that show to HBO. Now, these are executives. All they have to do is say, yeah, we'll take it, or no, thank you, we won't. But they didn't say either of those things. They went too far. They said, literally, what do we need you for? That's what they told me, as they kicked me out of the office. What do we need you for? And here we are, all these years later, and they're streaming the very show that I was pitching to them.
But Netflix got rid of it, so he's really happy about that. But he talked about it on SNL too. He said that he thought that he said his uncle, I think his great uncle, that used to be a slave, would be turned over in his grave knowing that his show was streaming on Netflix and he didn't get paid for it.
And I didn't get paid for any of it. Yeah, if he could see me now, he'd probably be like, this nigga got bought and sold more than I have.
So,
I did see that.
yeah.
Special.
That was a good little thing.
His recent one?
Yeah, it was on SNL. It was on election night.
Wasn't he smoking in that mug too?
Yeah, he always smokes on. No, he didn't smoke in his last SNL hosting, but he always they always let him smoke. He has a nicotine problem. He says that that's his way of coping with the things in Hollywood. He also called Hollywood a monster, that this whole industry is a monster. He said that the only difference between him and the Me Too bitches is that they didn't like how the monster fucked, and he just doesn't like how the monster eats.
This fucking industry is a monster. It's the same monster that these Me Too bitches was trying to tell you about. But they hate the monster for how it fucks, and I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster.
Dave Chappelle is really good with his words, and the stories he tells, I kind of understood why he asked for it to be removed. But luckily, I saw everything I wanted to see on the show before he removed it, because I wanted to see that Rick James one more time.
Man,
fucking hilarious.
Charlie Murphy! That was cold-blooded!
I actually didn't go back and watch it. For some reason, I just felt like it messed it up for me.
I think. Oh, you mean the TV show?
Yeah.
Yeah. What you mean it would mess it up for you?
I mean, like, it'll take away from the product because I'm just older and I'm watching more. Like I'm just watching closer, and my tolerance might be a little lower.
Oh, you saying you don't watch him because of the stuff he says about?
Oh no, I love watching him and his stand-up.
Oh, okay.
And I actually, I'm kind of sad that he's so apologetic, but not apologetic, but he just like acknowledges it so much.
He say stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm just like, if you're gonna say it, just say it.
What about people who say you're only interested in the Middle East for oil?
What? Huh? Oil? Who said something about oil, bitch? You cooking? Oil?
He asked his fans to boycott the show. He said, if you love me, if you actually care about me, and if you a real fan, just stop watching it until I get paid for it.
If you ever liked me, if you ever think there was anything worthwhile about me, I'm begging you, please don't watch that show. I'm not asking you to boycott any network. Boycott me. Boycott Chappelle Show. Do not watch it unless they pay me.
That's a lot of pressure.
Who owns the show?
Yeah.
I think it's Viacom. He said it's Viacom, and he said if you're a stockholder. Yeah, he said if you're a shareholder in Viacom, start watching it, stuff like that. But yeah, but I thought Comedy Central owned it, but because it was on there.
How did that even happen?
He said he never got paid for Comedy Central too. He said he signed a contract. He also talked about. He said he signed a contract where he wasn't gonna get paid for it because that was in the contract. He used like these big words, but yeah, he said he signed a contract that said he wasn't gonna get paid for it, and that's all I can say because the words that he's used.
How old was he when he did that contract?
He was 28. He said he was 28 and a hungry father to be expecting. So they offered him $50 million after that. He turned it down, went to Africa. So
What the hell?
yeah, that's why he was in Africa, and that's why he disappeared for a long time.
Did they not fake pay him like they did TLC and give him a house and a car? Nothing.
They probably did, but I don't think they did because he always talks about how he walked away for $50 million and had 2 kids at the time and a wife. And he said his wife was mad at him for a good minute too because he walked away from $50 million. He also talked about this in another interview where he said that he turned down the $50 million because he felt like that was greedy, and he felt like there was nothing else to do with it, so he felt like they was kind of juicing out the show.
Game. Blouses. I was there. I seen it. You don't believe me? You think I'm making it up? You think I'm trying to, enhance the story because I'm involved?
Nigga turned out 50 mil because he thought it was greedy.
Yeah, he was something he said. He said about he said like an orangutan or something. They like sugar. And he said that there was a man on Discovery Channel. There was a man that had sugar. And
they were talking about how a bushman finds water when it's scarce. And they do what's called a salt trap. I didn't know this. Apparently baboons love salt.
Okay.
So they put a lump of salt in a hole, and they wait for the baboon. The baboon comes, sticks his hand in the hole, grabs the salt makes his hand bigger, and he's trapped. He can't get his hand out. Now, if he's smart, all he does is let go of the salt. Baboon doesn't want to let go of the salt. Then the bushman just comes, takes the baboon, throws him in the cage, and gives him all the salt he wants. And then the baboon gets thirsty. The bushman lets him out of the cage. The first place the baboon runs to is water. The bushman follows him, and they both drink to their fill. And in that analogy, I felt like the baboon. But I was smart enough to let go of the salt.
Like that. I gotta look at the interview and put it on the video, but yeah, it was it made sense as to why he didn't do it, because he felt like it was at that point where they just were trying to juice it out and use it as something further, but he felt like he was done with it. So I don't know, but he came back and made $30 million from Netflix for 2 specials and still making plenty money.
Could have had $80
He's
million.
an artist. There's
a true one too.
Shit,
he's a true artist too. Anybody else would have took that money because everybody kept saying, why would he turn it down? Because after that he went to Africa and disappeared for a long time.
He did. I thought he was there or something.
I thought he just was done with everything. I'm like, why the fuck did Dave Chappelle leave? Then Netflix called him and gave him a job offer, offered him $30 million for 2 specials, and here we are now.